Today I'm going to be painting this figure from the Orlock Arms Masters and Wreckers kit. I've recently got back into the world of miniature painting, so I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, click the like button and hit subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Now let's get into it. My plan for this model is to follow the box art for inspiration whilst putting my own personal spin on it. First of all, I've already started by basing the model in Mechanicus Standard Grey. Here it is primed and ready to go. I've left the figure and jetpack separate so I can reach those hard to get places before final assembly later. First I'm going to use Abaddon Black for the jacket as it's the largest surface area. This is one of the parts that's going to be covered by the jetpack later, so I'm going to go over it just enough so that the grey isn't shining through. I'm also going to go over the shoulder pads, which I'm going to come back to later to add some detailing. And there it is with the jackets and gloves covered. Next I'm going to use Cadian Fleshstone, and this I'm going to use on the arms and the forehead as well for the skin. I did get some of this on the goggles, but I'm going to come back to this later when I'm adding more detail. For the boots and straps I'm going to use Rhinox hide to achieve a leather effect. What this leather is made from, giant rats, sump crocs or other gangers, I'll leave up to your imagination. I'm also going to go in and use this on the belt and the scabbard. I've been a bit clumsy with my brush strokes here, but this is why I've started with the larger areas first, because you can always come back to the smaller ones and cover them up later when adding detail. Next I'll be using Thunderhawk Blue for the trousers. Are they jeans? Are they trousers? I doubt very much that Levi's would have a store open in the Underhive. For the demolition charge I'm going to use Castellan Green. Again, I'm going to come back to this a bit later and add some more detail. For the hair I'm using Avalan Sunset. With my models I'm trying to give them each a different hair colour so they all stand out individually on the board. For the mask and the ribbons I'm using Mephiston Red. The box art depicts these as being in white, but I think the red stands out really nicely. Next up I'm going to use Lead Belcher, and I'm going to go in and use this on the breastplate and on the shin pads. And this is where I can fix up some of those little errors from earlier. I'm going to go over the gloves with this as well to give them a knuckle duster effect, as well as using it on the raised areas on the shoulder pads. This would be quite hard to do if the jetpack was already on. Now I'm going to go in with Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this on the combat knife and on the gun, as well as adding some detailing to the belt loops. I've been a bit clumsy again here, but I'll come back later and fix it up with an extra layer. Onto the detailing now, starting with white scarf for the strap on the demolition charge. Then I'm going to use Doomed Old Brown for the control surfaces. And here's what it looks like now. Now I'm going to go in and add some detailing, starting with Balthazar Gold. Watering this down, I'm going to add it to the armoured areas as I think it adds a really nice rusted effect. Now I'm going to add some Rakeland Flesh Shade. I'm going to use this to bring out the contours on the arms, as well as the hair to give it more contrast. These minor details have already made the model pop that bit more. With Dark Reaper I'm going to go in and use it on the trousers, on the creases and the material. For the leather areas I'm going back in with Doomed Old Brown to pick out some weathering. For the blade's edge I'm going in with the mix of White Scar and Lead Belcher to catch the light. Using Pilar Glacier I'm going to go in and give the goggles a little reflection effect. Lastly I'm going to use some Nulnor in areas to add some shading. With that done I'm going to move on to the jetpack. I'm going to keep this simple, starting with Abaddon Black for most of the surface area. Then I'm going to use Lead Belcher for most of the metallic areas. For detailing I'm going to use Retributor Armour, using this on the upper thruster and the pipework. For the vents I'm going to use Flash Glitz Yellow, going over them with some Mephiston Red, finally using some Cassandora Yellow to add a glow effect. With that done I'm going to move on to the base. I'm going to do this quickly with a mixture of Lead Belcher, Abaddon Black and Retributor Armour. Now for the final assembly, and this is where I admittedly made a mistake. Instead of using modelling glue I used a bonding adhesive, which is great when you're assembling your models unpainted, but it does not react well with paint. With some patience I did get it to bond, but it just took that bit longer and some more patience. It did scuff some of the paint as well, which I had to go in and fix. And here it is after some final touch-ups and detailing. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. The main thing I've learned from this is not using bonding adhesive to finish off your model once it's been painted. In all though, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. What would you have done differently? Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I hope to see you on the next one.